Welcome back to another edition of Islanders Insider. I'm Stephen King, and we're coming to you from the locker room here on the campus of Texas A&M University Corpus Christi. Today, we're going to talk more Islanders hoops with head coach Royce Chadwick of Islander women's basketball and the head coach of Islander men's hoops, Coach Willis Wilson. We also have a special feature coming your way momentarily. But right now, we're going to start things off with the head coach of Islander men's basketball, Coach Willis Wilson. How you doing, Coach?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing well. Traveling a lot, I know, and getting in. Appreciate you coming in, getting the show done today. 2 wins on the road. Always a tremendous accomplishment, no matter your opponent. This past week, we did it for the first time this season, winning back-to-back road victories. What makes it especially nice is when you pick up 2 straight road games in conference play.
There's no question. If you're going to have a chance to compete for a great seed in the conference tournament, if you're going to have a chance to compete for a conference title, you got to win games on the road. And for us to be able to go out and win on the road this weekend, put 2 back-to-back, confidence booster for our basketball team. I think that's 4 road wins for us on the season so far. So good start, but we've got a lot more to go because we continue to be on the road for a little more.
A lot more to go for sure. The first game of the weekend was against the University of New Orleans, the Privateers, and you seem to have it under control, leading by as much as 20 in the first half, but they came back, all the way back, and forced an overtime. Did we lose some focus, or plain and simple, did they just get hot?
Well, a little bit of both. I thought it was as good a start as we've had ever.
Okay.
Coming out of the blocks and just really played tremendous basketball. And it's one of those things where you wonder if you can kind of keep that pace going for as long as we would have liked. We got some guys in foul trouble, and that's been a nemesis for us all season long, and that really changed the complexion of the game. And then I think the fact that there were so many fouls called, it was a fairly inconsistently called game. I want to say there were 55 fouls between both teams in that game. So it was just really hard to maintain that rhythm that we had. And then to UNO's credit, they came out and made some shots, and it was their homecoming, so they had a pretty decent crowd, had a lot of support, and just got themselves going and clawed their way back in it. Fortunately for us, we were able to pull out in the overtime period.
Yeah, that's always a challenge for sure, just reversing the momentum in OT.
Yeah, and they really grabbed onto that momentum and kept it, but as we talked about in a number of the timeouts, we just got to value our process and get back to doing things the way we needed to do things. We had a lot of big plays by a number of guys in that game in spite of some of the foul trouble.
Well, Bryce Duvier found his range that night, leading 4 players in double figures, finishing with 17 points, 4 of 5 from three-point range. Also finished with a double-double, his first of the season, picking up 10 boards along the way. For Bryce, getting to where he is now and the way he's shooting so confidently, was it mechanics, was it confidence, was it shot selection, or kind of a combination of those things that has really helped his long-range efficiency?
Yeah, Bryce is a very, very good shooter, and a lot of what he's going through, I think a lot of transfers go through, a lot of junior college guys go through. It takes about a half a season just to get acclimated and get comfortable. You establish a rotation, you're going to play, and you begin to learn what success is all about for you as an individual and how that success fits into team play. So I fully expect Bryce to be a lot more consistent, and I'm hopeful that we're going to have more games like that out of him. He's been rebounding the ball well. He's playing with a lot more energy. I think that motor is beginning to run full time, and I think that's the number one key for Bryce. When he goes out and he plays with high octane in his tank, he's just really, really good. And so hopefully we'll see a lot more of that out of him.
Well, in southeastern Louisiana, it was a bit back and forth throughout the first half, but in the second half, the Rashawn Thomas show got underway. He struggled in the first half, again with foul trouble, but in the second half poured in 20 points, including 10 of 13 from the foul line.
Yeah, and that's been a nemesis for Rashawn this year from the free throw line. But fortunately, that day during shoot around, we made just a small adjustment. I think he gained a little bit of confidence. I think it's more of a confidence issue for him than anything else. But to be able to go 10 for 13 from the line and of course scoring the baskets down in the paint the way he does, it just takes the heart out of the opposing team's defenses. He gets a lot of double teams, and he's been able to score the ball, get some assists, and just continue to play with a lot of heart and a lot of passion, pounding the offensive boards, the defensive glass. Was really, really happy to see him play as well as he did, considering some of the foul trouble and some of the frustration he's been through this season.
Well, we speak a lot about Rashawn, but John is another gentleman who's been having a great run. Named the Southland Conference Player of the Week last week, as well as he's been playing this season. It's the first time he was recognized by the league this year. Now, in my opinion, there are two ways to look at that. First, makes me wonder if they've been paying any attention. But secondly, it truly tells me there's a lot of excellent ball players in the Southland Conference this year.
Well, there are a lot of good players and a lot of good teams in the Southland Conference. There's no question about that. In John's case, being a preseason all-conference guy, you would think that they would pay a little more attention to him. He's had a number of weeks where he's played terrific basketball, but he seems to be on a little bit of a tear of sorts, where he's played incredibly consistent at a high level in conference play. He's had a double-double or two, and scoring the ball at a high percentage. His field goal percentage is up. His turnovers are down. His assists are up. His rebounds are up. So he's doing a heck of a job for us right now.
On the road, Stephen F. Austin is next on the road. Now, you've done a great job keeping the team focused on one game at a time, while people like me have been eagerly waiting for this opportunity to face off against the Lumberjacks. Now, they're the lone undefeated team in Southland Conference play to this point. What do we have to do to stop them?
Well, we're going to have to play good basketball. You don't stop a team like that. You've got to contain them. We've got to stay in the game, and my hope is that it's a close game. They've been beating people pretty handedly. Their margin of victory is significant in numbers, well above 15, I want to say, in conference play. So number one, you got to hang around, especially when you're playing in their gym. Number two, you're going to have some key situations where you can get what we call kills, where you can get multiple stops back to back to back in key parts of the game where you have an opportunity to either take a lead or stretch a lead or narrow their margin and maybe get a little bit of a momentum swing. But I think the biggest key to playing Stephen F. Austin is momentum. You've got to be able to dictate tempo, and it's hard to do against them because they play so aggressively on defense, and then with their offense they click on a lot of different cylinders, have a lot of different guys that can put the ball in the hoop.
Well, you've been playing well on the road thus far, carrying that forward to Stephen F. Austin. Obviously, you're playing with some confidence, and knowing the kids the way that I do, I know that they're chomping at the bit.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it's going to boil down to us playing a little bit more complete basketball game, and that just simply means making free throws, doing the job that we've been doing defensively, rebounding the ball maybe a little bit better over a course of a 40-minute game. We've had periods where we've been just tremendous in all those areas, but we've just got to do it a little bit better over a 40-minute game against Stephen F. Austin.
Coach, should be an exciting week. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Willis Wilson joining us here in the locker room. When we come back, got a special feature coming your way right here on Islanders Insider.
The Southland Conference is 4,200 student athletes from 13 member institutions, competing in 17 NCAA Division I sports. We are Southland Strong.
Welcome back to Islanders Insider. This time we have a special feature focusing on Islander baseball and the start of the 2015 season.
This past weekend, Islanders baseball opened up their spring practices and are starting to see how the team is coming together.
Yesterday, National Start Day, you get to extend your practice. I think it's supposed to feel like a big monumental day, but a lot of these guys have been back in town since the 15th. Feel like these guys have been around, they've been working. We've been killing it in the weight room. So, it kind of felt like business as usual, yesterday and today. Now, obviously you get to extend practice a little bit, so we're starting to scrimmage. So you start to see what the product's going to look like when you get between the white lines.
Getting back off break, everybody's, trying to get back into their swings, get back into their arms. So it's kind of like the first week or two, you try to get everything, back to par, but since we only have 3 weeks till our first game, kind of got to speed everything up.
With the start of the season rapidly approaching, the team is focusing on getting ready for opening day.
I think from my standpoint, we're not trying to recreate the game. We're just trying to do the little things well. From our pitchers going out and throwing strikes and setting a good tempo. guys behind them playing good defense, and also at the same time, you know, you want to see some leadership on the field. That quarterback is what you're looking for.
I think we just all need to come together. We all had a long Christmas break, just getting back into the swing of things, getting our practices in, especially for pitchers, having to go out there and throw a lot in the first weekend. We just got to get to it every day.
With much of the pitching staff returning, the Islanders have the pieces in place to be dominant from the mound.
You know, I just mentioned it in our post-practice speech. I find myself sometimes just kind of sitting over there and watching, you know, and looking at the names on the list, and you kind of get a little reserved as a coach when you realize you got 12 seniors out there that are kind of running practice. You don't have to be on top of everybody, but at the same time, you know, we just talked about it. You can't get too comfortable. You can't start thinking, well, you know, we do have 12 seniors and a bunch of juniors, and hey, we'll just put our hat out there and we'll win a bunch of games. It doesn't work that way, you know. And these guys understand the goals higher. These guys want to win a championship, you know, and that's a long way off. But one day at a time, we need to work on being really good, you know. So there needs to be some urgency, and I think these guys have it. But every now and then, we need a reminder.
It's awesome. I mean, just knowing that you're Friday night, Saturday night, and they're going to give you 7 quality innings every time you go out. Then you throw Doris, Keith, Lane Grebe. I mean, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see.
Even though the Islanders have been a program on the rise in the conference, they're still looking to take the final step and win a conference championship.
You know, it's probably the hardest next step. It's probably the toughest next step. These guys know there's no way sidestepping around it. We were 3 games away from winning a championship last year. Being that close, well, these guys understand this is what we need to do. You know, we need to go out and do it again, and we're trying to get over the hump, and it's the biggest hump. You know, it's the hardest one to get over. You know, these guys have taken this program from the bottom half of the league to the top. You know, we've done it consistently now for a few years. How do you get from the top half to number 1? You know, it's the hardest step, and I'm telling you, it's going to take these 12 seniors to push us through. So we'll be counting on those guys, and hopefully they can get it done.
We just got to take care of our positions. The new players coming in that filled those positions, they're going to do fine. It's just a matter of everybody playing the part.
Well, I think we need to go out every game and not get outplayed. You know, I think last year we had some setbacks early in games that we couldn't overcome, obstacles that we couldn't overcome. And I think that with a little seniority this year, I think that we'll be able to step up to those challenges and make the plays when we need to make them.
For Islanders Insider, I'm Teddy Medina. We'll be right back.
Whether you're on the road or at home, GoIslanders.com is your source for Texas A&M Corpus Christi athletics. From live stats to live video to all the latest news, GoIslanders.com has everything to keep you up to date on all the latest on your favorite Islanders team. Check out Islanders schedules and statistics and learn more about the student athletes at the Island University. Get tickets, Islanders game day gear, and more by clicking your way to GoIslanders.com today. Go Islanders! Welcome back to Islanders Insider. It's time to talk some Islander women's hoops with the head coach, Coach Royce Chadwick. Coach, how you doing?
I'm good, Stephen.
Well, first off, congratulations, picking up a couple last week, 2 straight, both coming on the road at Southeastern Louisiana and New Orleans. Now, what made them dangerous is the fact that, you know, those 2 teams have had their struggles and are desperately needing wins. In the case of New Orleans, they were playing to get back in that, while Southeastern was trying to stay in contention. Tell me about playing a team like that that's really on the cusp and really needs victories.
Well, it's a different animal on the road. Every time you go on the road, you don't see officials that you normally see when you go to that far-reaching spot in our league, because we do regional officials. We try to keep people that we have to pay mileage, and so we try to get the local officials to save us some money. So you're going to see people when you go to Louisiana that you don't see all year. You don't know how they're going to call the game, so you have to adjust. Secondly, Southeastern's been winning all their home games, losing all the road games. But unfortunately for us, we only get them one time, and we have to go there. And it's light years away from here, so it's a pretty good little trip. So to go there and sweep is really that's how you win championship. You got to go on the road and you got to win 2. If you can go on the road and win 2 and you can protect your home court, then you have an opportunity to do something special. And I thought our team responded to a lot of adversity, and we overcame an awful lot to win both those games.
Well, it was definitely challenging. On Thursday against the Lions, 3 players pick up double-doubles in that contest. Olivia Foudy, Shea Weaver, and Ashanti Plummer, by the way, which was her first ever double-double. Do you recall 3 double-doubles in one game since you've been here at A&M Corpus Christi?
You know, we were talking about that after the game, and I don't remember one in my career. You know, I mean, we had some top 25 basketball teams at Stephen F. back in, you know, the day. I don't remember us ever having that kind of output from that many players. And what made Shay's all the more special, her mother was diagnosed with a stroke. And her mom was like, no, you play those games, you play those games, and then you can come check on me. And so Shay got that news on the airplane on the way out there, and then she went out and made that kind of a appearance. Also, Ashante Plummer, you know, I mean, she had been starting and hadn't been playing well. We pulled her back and brought her off the bench, and she goes out and gets a double-double. So we were very excited for our basketball team. At Southeastern, we played about as good as we could play for about 30 minutes. Then we turned around at UNO and played as bad as we could play for 30 minutes and only put 10 minutes of good play. But that's because you have young players, and they're going to make mistakes.
Definite challenges, that's for sure. Now, your team limited themselves to 11 turnovers in the game against Southeastern, a regular season low. You know, have we improved in that category enough for your liking? Or are we still kind of inconsistent?
Well, there are two things that we don't do very well. We don't get any steals, and we turn it over too many times. And they are primarily what I call unforced errors, because it's not because people are pressing us or people are coming out and trapping us and making us do things. We just misread defenses, and I think it's a lack of experience at this level. I think that you have some people out there that are freshmen, sophomores, and they just haven't seen enough games at this level to know post player looks open, but that weak side help, can she get there? I'm going to make that pass, because at the last level, the weak side help couldn't get there. But at this level, they're quicker, faster, stronger, and they're getting there, and they're like, oh, yeah, my bad. You know, and we got to get over that. We will be sent home in March for those turnovers, so we got to stop it.
Are you seeing improvement, though, as the season progresses?
I think we see improvement in the games. I think that they go out in the first half trying to make passes they can't make. Then they reel it back in and say, okay, I get it. And I think one thing you have to guard against with inexperience, UNO didn't have a very good record. So I think our players, you know, they all have the internet, so they're on there going, oh, we got this. So you have to guard against complacency in a game like that, and UNO will win a basketball game in this league. It's going to be against a team that takes that one for granted and just steps up and shows up, and they're going to lose.
In the win against New Orleans, Olivia Foudy stayed consistent. She picked up her 9th double-double of the season along the way. Now, like an automobile, there's a lot of moving parts that need to work well, to be well-tuned to actually operate properly. If you were to look at Olivia Foudy, what part of the automobile is she?
You know, she's the engine, transmission, you know, the rear end, the front end. You know, you got one senior, and if you have 4 or 5 seniors, you can rely on all of them to pull the wagon. We have one, and Olivia is definitely our point girl. She is out front. She's the one taking the chances. She is the one trying to help us be tougher. She's the one trying to help us through the tough times. She is our leader. She is, I just don't think there's a part of the car that she isn't, and she's done an exceptional job. It's an awful lot of pressure for a young lady to handle, to just be the only senior, much less have all of the roles that she has for our team. But, you know, she is certainly the Mother Hubbard of the shoe right now for us.
A notable statistic is that your team is number 1 in the Southland Conference in scoring defense, holding teams under 58 points per game. Is it strictly due to our defensive schemes, our rebounding effort, our transition defense? What are we doing to make this happen?
Well, you know, you can control defense a lot of ways. One, we're defending. And if you really want to have that statistic be your flagship, then you walk the ball up, pass it 5 times, don't shoot it till there's 5 on the shot clock. Now, that gives them fewer opportunities. And if you really defend, you'll see their average go from 56 down to 52 really quick, because you're holding the ball on the offensive end. I'd rather win a basketball game and know that we're defending. And in my first life as a young coach, boy, we'd hold a ball on the offensive end to make our defense look better. But we're not doing that. We're trying to run it down, put up numbers, get a basket any way we can get it, but you have to defend. And primarily, anybody can play defense. It's just a heart and soul of, okay, I'll buy into the hard hat work. The fun stuff is on offense, and the glory and all that, you know, happens on the other end. But if this team has bought into taking care of the defensive end, and that's why we're winning basketball games.
Well, next up for your squad is the University of the Incarnate Word on Thursday the 29th. Now, you're back on campus in the Dugan Wellness Center for this one. 2 of the 3 games played there this season. The team shot right at about 50% from the floor and 40% from the arc. Is it a good shooting gym, you know, backdrops, the rims, etc., or is it really something else?
No, I think it's a good fan gym. I think it's a gym where you get our crowd into the Dugan and it elevates our play because our girls get excited. They know people are there cheering for them, and we don't have a player on this team that doesn't play for somebody in the stands. And, you know, game's over with, they're up there hugging all the people saying, thanks for coming and watch me play. We're not on ESPN, and we're not, you know, playing a lot for the people back home so much as we're playing for the people in the stands. And they get there, they get rowdy, they get loud, and it just elevates our play, and I think it makes us a better basketball team, and the fans are responsible.
Well, Incarnate Word is like one of those teams I mentioned before. They need a win if they want to have any chance to fight for a regular season title. What are they bringing to the table?
Well, in the past, they've come down and shot a lot of threes. They're not shooting so many threes this year. They're getting fouled a lot. They're, you know, being more aggressive on the offensive end, and they're mixing up their defenses. And it's going to be a real challenge for our point guards to recognize the defense, get us in the right offense, and make sure that we execute, because when you have inexperienced players and you change defenses quite often, they get confused. So we have to keep our confusion to a minimum. Your basketball character is certainly going to show, so it'll be a real test for us. Plus, Stephen F. is waiting for us on the weekend, and they got nothing to do all week but prepare for us. So, you know, how that schedule works out, I do not know, but we'll be headed to Nacogdoches, you know, as soon as that game's over with. We got to get back in the bus and go. So it's going to be a tough week for us.
No doubt. Coach, best of luck to you.
All right, thanks, Stephen.
When we come back, we'll tell you what's next for Islanders Athletics. Stay with us, more to come on Islanders Insider.
The Countdown to Katy, March 11th through 15th at the Merrill Center. Go to Ticketmaster.com or Southland School ticket offices.
Welcome back to Islanders Insider. At this time, we want to bring you up to speed on what's next for Islanders Athletics. On Thursday, January 29th, Islander women's basketball will host the University of the Incarnate Word at 7 o'clock on campus of the Dugan Wellness Center. On Friday the 30th, Islander Track and Field will compete at the University of Houston Invitational. That is Friday and Saturday, and it is an all-day event. On Saturday the 31st, Islanders basketball heads out on the road with the women and men both taking on Stephen F. Austin in doubleheader action. First game start at 4 p.m. Tuesday the 3rd, Islander women's tennis will take on the University of Texas Pan American at the Thomas J. Henry Tennis Center. Start time, 1 o'clock. And that evening, Islander men's basketball will head back to the American Bank Center as they take on the University of Incarnate Word at 7 p.m. Thursday the 5th, Islander women's basketball will take on Houston Baptist on the road in Houston with a 7 o'clock start time. And then on Saturday, the 7th, men's and women's basketball will continue their road trip as they head to Sam Houston State for doubleheader action. The women will take the court at 2 o'clock with the men to follow at 4:30. Once again, we want to thank head coaches Royce Chadwick and Willis Wilson for joining us here in the locker room. Also want to thank Islander Baseball for that special access focusing on their new season. And most importantly, we want to thank you for joining us once again. I'm Stephen King from the locker room. This has been Islanders Insider.